stopping your video. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Pirvu, for your presentation today. Pirvu Ionica, which is the legal representative of Sinaptica organization in Romania, and kindly offer himself to participate to this final multiplier event of pro-social value project. And talking about quite an interesting topic, which is how to preserve the memory of the past and not to waste anything. And also to give affectionate, emotional value to the old houses. So he has been working with the Craft Foundations and many, many years of European project. We collaborated many, many years ago, indeed, in some European project. This one is a topic that I like very much because Romania is a heritage of humanity concerning the old houses and preserving the tradition. Thank you very much, Pirvu. I give you the word to you, and thank you again.
Thank you again. Welcome to this workshop. I hope you will enjoy it. Stefan know a little bit, but only a little bit about from my stories and from some pictures I published over Facebook and other social media. The topic itself, it's let's say rather unusual, but from my point of view, it's quite actual, as a matter of fact. And what I will show you will be for some of you common, for other will be more or less like archaeology, but without digging. A few words about the organization I work with since 2015. We try shortly then is written there on behind me. We try to support people and organizations to put together their small resources, and when small resources are working together, you can achieve a scale effect with results which are higher than any kind of result individual can obtain by using their own resources than their own individual efforts. And in this respect, we mostly work in remote parts of Romania with economical or social disadvantaged groups, and we try to convince people not to waste what they already have. And the presentation I prepared for today, it's exactly about this, how to value the gold around us instead of trying to dig for gold or to buy gold from other parts and so on and so forth. And the main assumptions for this endeavor is Europe is aging. In Romania, my generation is the most numerous generation in the entire Romanian history. Never before us and never after us there will be a generation with so many people like my generation. And my generation, the flower power generation, 60s, end of 60s, we are getting old. And our kids are very few. Many of them try to escape from Romania prison, let's say, which is perceived as a country without resources, without opportunities, and so on and so forth. And there are a lot of consequences of this kind of situation. One very important is rural areas in Romania are depleted of population. 20 years ago, for instance, you were able, if you walk through Romania, you are able to find villages with 5,000, 10,000 people. Now, a village maybe have 5 old people. The rest of hundreds of houses are empty. Nobody there. I mean, nobody. This is the meaning of the population. Then, economical opportunities are, let's say, understood in Romania, and not only in Romania, as industrial opportunities, big size opportunities. But unfortunately, the big size opportunities are, let's say, for big guys, for those with money, for those with other kind of advantages, political, social, other kind of advantages. For normal people, economical opportunities are normal and should be normal. And economical opportunities are around each of us in our very close premise. And there are opportunities, but because we are used to think on big size opportunities, we think that there is no opportunities. I personally consider this is a mistake. But the opportunities should be understood, let's say, in an old way. An opportunity is not necessary to have a huge transnational corporation, but a very big opportunity is you have something to do, something which will be able to feed 5 generations. A family of 5 generations will be a very good opportunity, and I think it's an extraordinary business, even stronger than, I don't know, Microsoft. Then, the climate change. In Romania, it's already a very big challenge because the land, the soil, it's drowning in an accelerating way. Romania was considered to be the first agricultural soil in Europe, no more, because of desertification of the soil, losing of forest, industrialization of exploitation of water, and so on and so forth. And those have very big consequences on crops, the variety of food, what we eat, with a very low variety of raw products produced by agriculture, by nature, or by having animals. And this climate change, in this respect, will lead already in Romania. The climate change leads to migration. People migrate from mountains where they have no more forests, so they migrate to cities, big cities. They migrate from flat land because there is almost desert, nothing. The soil it's empty of nutrients, and they go to the last idea here. I think you'll see it there and, behind me. They go to the crowded cities. In my opinion, a big city is the less sustainable discovery of humankind, because a big city is totally dependent on other places. Food came from other places. Water came from other places. Electrical energy came from other places. In case of, I don't know, electrical blackout for 2 weeks in a big city, is meaning death, disease, and so on and so forth. So altogether, leads me to an idea of trying to convince especially teenagers, children, and young adults to rediscover the values of forgotten villages, to rediscover let's say, the high value, economical value of old houses. And I will show you some pictures with before and after to see, let's say, where we began and where we are ended after 7 days of full work, just to have an image. And then I will show you how to deal with it. Here, it's a house 150 years old. This one. Made from wood and covered with clay, with mud. After 1 week, this is how it looks. How can it look? Then here is the fireplace. The fireplace is in the house with an open air fireplace. With the smoke going up in the attic without, let's say, the chimney. And after 1 week of work, this is the final view with all traditional table, dishes, and so on and so forth. Everything we found in the house, and the house is still inhabited by an old lady. This house was inhabited by people for 150 years. They still live there like 100 years ago. It's living history. This is an interior, how it looks. We clean it, we paint it with lime, white lime, natural lime, not industrial one. This is the blind chimney called, because the fire here, the fire is made outside. The house is clean because you don't bring the woods for the fire in-house. They stay outside the room where people sleep in. This is the fireplace, the original, the initial stage. This is the final stage. Everything is very old. Everything is 100% functional. Inside the house, even the smoke have no chimney. There is not even a molecule of smoke in the house, because the engineering of the entire heating system, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's extraordinary. It's a kind of technique which can be used today in our modern houses in a very economical way, without using cement, without using expensive materials, without using, let's say, materials which can pollute very hard, without plastic and so on and so forth. With things which can be provided from the environment, from the hill, from the flatland, and so on. This is one of the sleeping rooms, the initial aspect. The second one, we found the weaving installation, and the lady helped us to mount the weaving installation here. She used to, last time she weaved something about 15 years ago, a very old technique. This is the lobby, the open air lobby, the initial aspect here, the final aspect here. Probably for some of you, it will look more or less like a museum. It's not a museum, it's a living house. Another aspect from one of the rooms, repaired, installed, and so on. This is the second house. In 1 week, we repaired 2 houses. We went there, I think, 15 people, 15 teenagers work with me there. This one is a smaller house, but you can see here, I'll try to, I cannot move. Again, a wood house with clay covering the walls inside and outside with a very good thermal qualities. Aspects from beginning and the end. This is the beginning, a sort of warehouse. This is the end, the result. The fireplace, again, the same technology, open fireplace, ready to cook on. Now, what is about this kind of old house? Why to go back to history? Well, as a matter of fact, in terms of technology, of technique, for instance, the plumbing system in Ephesus, in Turkey, the ancient Ephes, maybe you heard about, Roman Ephes, 3,000 years old place. Since Romans, till today, the humankind didn't invent nothing in terms of having water and heating in our blocks of fleet. Romans already invented that. And this kind of very sustainable, in terms of system, very feasible approaches on doing things can be found in most of Europe. But those kind of knowledges, those kind of heritage, this kind of heritage in many of European countries are lost. People forgot how to use their hands and what to do with their hands, how to interfere with the surrounding environment. So, the pandemia in Romania proved once more that it's safer and cheaper to buy an old house with a small piece of land instead of having an apartment in a blocks of fleet in Bucharest or in other big cities. It's more efficient and more economical. Second, if you don't want to live in an old house, you can value it by using as a touristic resource. You can rent it via, for instance, today Airbnb to host tourists who want to spend 1 week in countryside outside the madness of the big city of daily life in very technological society. If you want to develop learning activities, which I used to do, in an old house and surrounding, it's a huge opportunity to learn a lot of things, especially for children, teenagers, and young adults. Not only in Romania, but across Europe. They can learn a lot about themselves. They can learn a lot about basic laws of physics, of chemistry, for children, for instance. They can learn for, I don't know, how to, today, yes, a small divagation. In United States, for instance, there are very successful training courses on householding. How to take care by yourself, by your house, how to replace, I don't know, an electrical bulb, or how to clean your bathroom, and so on and so forth. How to repair your, I don't know, shirt, something like this. Well, working on an old house and maybe during the process helping an old family to have a renewed house, you can develop there a lot of training and educational topics. Then, In rural area, you can use this one for bioagriculture, for eco-agriculture, because the land is not so big surrounding the house. So you can have your own crops there, tomato, cucumbers, carrots, fruits, a lot of, maybe a chicken, why not? Because the pig is very noisy and very smelly, nevertheless. And an old house, you may believe or not, but I can tell you that an old house can be turned in a modern house in a cheaper way and more easy than transforming a house built, I don't know, 50 years ago with cement, with plaster with cement and concrete. An old house is very flexible, can be transformed very easy. So what we have done? Well, we work with mud. Here in the image, you can see teenagers learning how to use their feet, not only to walk, but to prepare the plaster. Plaster for this kind of house, and it's the same in Turkey, in Bulgaria, in Serbia, in Macedonia. I saw it in Italy, I saw it in Spain, I saw it in Portugal. Almost everywhere you can have a sort of good dirt, good clay. You can see this kind of work in old houses, traditional houses. So we make the mixture, the plaster with dirt, hay, wool, and a little bit of sand. No more, no less. All together, having a party in the clay, and that's it. You have mortar to repair your house. Here we can use linen seeds, oil of linen seeds, to make a very good oil to preserve wood. It is better than chemical solution to protect wood against water, against biological attacks, and so on and so forth. This is a sort of old teaching. Here we work to plaster the wall without tools, only by hand. Just to smashing the dirt on the wall. That's it. You have at the end, you will see a very nice wall. This is the owner of the house, the old lady. She demonstrates to our teenagers how to spin the wool, to make anyway, to make wool able to work with, stripe of wool. Here the girls are working to make the mattresses for beds from natural fibers, textile from natural fibers. They are sewing by hand, and the mattresses are filled with hay. Not with plastic, but with hay. Very comfortable. Found in the house, the heritage of the house here are
Sorry, Pirvu, turn on your microphone, please. Someone has, Millie, has turned off your microphone. Could you please turn on again your microphone? Thank you. Now it works.
Now it works? Okay. So these are pieces of woven garments made of wool, weave in that loom you saw at the beginning. We found in the house, we cleaned them, and then now they are in one room because the lady is using only one room of two. The second room is organized as a sort of house museum. And we exposed those there. Very beautiful garments, very beautiful. I'm in love with this kind of garments. I'm not a woman, but in love. Here we clean all the house, kitchenware, tools, everything people have in the house. During this kind of experience, I used to give to the participants the opportunity to eat from pottery made of clay and with wooden spoons, and we cook on the spot without any kind of industrial processed food. We cook by ourselves there on the spot with vegetables from the village, with eggs from the village, with cheese from the village, everything made there. This is a very big kind of lesson for the young people, because when I organized the job, in a rotation way, two of them daily are responsible to feed the rest. They have the responsibility to feed 10 or 20 people in a day. Quite a challenge. Nobody get ill, nobody gets starving, nobody was fighting because of the bad food. And at the end, the satisfaction of the participants, after they had greetings from the others, from the eaters, they said, okay, I feel very good. My responsibility have a very big success. I think this is kind of teaching which are missing in our educational system. When you become responsible for the others, you take care of the other need. Because somebody, I don't eat this one because I have a disease. I don't want that one. And when you try to satisfy all those needs, you cannot let anyone behind. You have to make everybody close together around the table, eating all together. You cannot afford to let someone, okay, if you don't like it, don't eat. No, it's not a way. People work during the day, hard work, and at the lunch or at dinner, they have to eat. This responsibility which I gave to the participants was perceived as a very important lesson for them. More important than working with clay. This sense of being there, of being responsible. Quite interesting, as a matter of fact. Here, as a matter of fact, share this kind of light and computers. Here is a demonstration of what has happened when you use on an old building new material, contemporary material, cement. They don't stick together, and cement can destroy an old house. They are not compatible. You cannot use them. You cannot mix them. Working day, before to start to apply the new plaster, you have to clean what was destroyed by time, and then you come back and put new plaster with fresh mud. Here we have, you can see here on the right side of the image, an old guy old man in the village. He came and teach our participant how to work with wood, even to put two pieces together. It's quite a science. It's not so easy to put together without any kind of electrical device. All the activities I organized there are using hands and hand tools without electrical tools. It's easy with electrical tools for sure, but it's a sort of stealing from our own abilities. It's a matter of discovering, I have 5 fingers, I have 5 fingers, 10 fingers, what I can do with them, which are the use of my own hands. Here we are chopping the hay because we don't have any more the grains in the past, the cereals used in the past. So we innovate using hay. We didn't have textile fiber, from instance linen, so we use wool instead of linen to make the plaster to make the plaster more adherent on the wall. So we chop by hand the hay to the proper size. Here it's the most challenging part, to apply the plaster on the ceiling in such way not to fall down in your head. It's quite interesting. This is the smoothening to make very shine the wall with water, only by hand and water. No other tools. You have nothing. No need to use modern tools. As a matter of fact, modern tools will get stuck in this kind of raw material because the clay is very adhesive even on metal. This is the lunch which I told you about. 2 people have to feed 15 to have all of them happy. Noon. This is a lunch only with fresh cooked bread and very fresh cheese from the village. No more, no less. That's it. Quite enough for a very healthy lunch during a work day. Using natural lime to paint the walls, and in the same way in the same time to clean, to make it more hygienic. Using lime, traditional lime, will burn all the microbes, all the bacteria, and so on and so forth on the walls. Very good. It's better than the dye paintings with Teflon, silver molecules, and other stuff, and cheaper, by the way. After we repair the fireplace on the left, we start to cook. In 12 hours, you have everything in place to cook. And we cook, and we eat the food we cook there. This is a detail on the association between wood, clay, and wool all together to make the plaster. The hand drill, this young girl struggling to making a hole in a very hard piece of wood with hand tool. But at the end, after about 1 hour, she managed. She managed to have the hole in the piece of wood. This is the spinning wool workshop. Painting, usual painting. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Pirvu. And Pirvu has a huge experience and background working with recovering old houses and also in craft work. And if I remember correctly, Archie project about 16 years ago, you were dealing with a lot of foundations and organization preserving the heritage and the tradition. This is something that the root is a value. It's what we call a part of the prosocial value. I mean, globalization, modernization, and also technology should not forget we should not forget that we are coming from a past, and those traditions are part of our heritage. So if you have any question to Pirvu, and Pirvu is from Romania, from Bucharest, and you know, we have still 10-15 minutes for you. If any one of you has any question for him. For me, it's a pleasure to host you once again into Prosocial Value Project and for this workshop. And Pirvu is also partner in other European projects concerning prosocial values, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are partnering rights.
In rights, and now with the plastic-free school.
Yes, a movement. Yeah. So, and we will collaborate for at least 4 or 5 years together in those projects, and those are also values that we are promoting. One is the history of the fighting to obtain the rights that we are given for granted every day in our everyday life, and through fairy tales and luggages with inside those fairy tales, and delivered in classrooms with kids in order to promote the value of the rights of education, for free education, rights for health system, right to have rights as well. And the other one is protecting the environment, just promoting among kids the values to be protagonists, to be the main actors in the future, to preserve, protect, and save the planet.
This is the reason for which I decided to present this kind of initiative, because when you have to work hardly in open air, everybody there is equal. There is no difference between women and men. Even the disabled people have a place to express themselves. There is all the time something, even for the smallest child there. You cannot make discrimination when you have to work together. And after one day of very hard work, all the barriers between people disappear, vanished away. When you sweat together, when you eat together, when you sleep there in a tent, in open air, everybody are the same. And nevertheless, this kind of experience I presented you, it's very environment friendly. As a matter of fact, it's 100% environment friendly, because we use only human force, and the raw materials are directly from the nature. All of them are 100% recyclable. They can be returned in the environment with no cost of any kind, compared with the modern constructions, which are very expensive on long term, and every time you have to use materials which at the end will pollute, will damage the environment. Plastic, cement, and so on and so forth.
That's amazing. I want to add that in those projects, we will have some training courses, and about rights project, we will have it in Verona on late January, but I think we will have a meeting and a training course in Romania, isn't it, Pirvu, if I'm correctly remember?
Yeah.
Yes, we have a training courses in plastic-free movement project or rights. I don't remember which one of the two. Maybe
anyone. Maybe for the plastic free movement, okay. We can depend on, I don't know.
We will start on January the project, and it will last 3 years.
Maybe to organize this the meeting in this kind of place where it's, as a matter of fact,
in Sibiu.
No Sibiu. I intend to organize something in this kind of wild. In Romania, of course, in countryside.
Oltenia.
Where you can stay in a house outside any kind of, even the idea of plastic was not invented there.
Okay, about 12 years ago, when we were much younger, me and Pirvu, He organized a training course for a European project into an old village with all of us living. It was winter time, very cold indeed, landing in an airport and having a long, long way by bus to reach Sibiu. But it was one of the best meetings we ever had. And I still remember the old houses, the old villages, and the tradition of that place. And it, of course, is a UNESCO heritage setting, so it's well protected. But also, he also talked to us when he comes from Oltenia, the land of pottery, the land of traditional making potteries. And every time we had a meeting, he was carrying some pottery from Romania as a present. I still got all of them. And they are so beautiful, even now after 15 years, Pirvu, more than 15 years. It's amazing. So it's, for me, it's just a meeting an old brother, because we don't feel border, we don't feel differences, and we consider each other really brothers. Because when you appreciate and you love the same things, and you are working for the same ideals in life, it's a brotherhood, we call it, like a Robin Hood, but we call it a brotherhood, isn't it? I know Maribel, she's laughing. Okay, thank you very much then, Pirvu. If you have any questions, because all those projects are like little branches of the main network, Nobody Less. So if you need any information about Nobody Less Network and you want to join and want to be involved, I know that Agnese, and she's here somewhere, she would like to join it as a teacher. This network is made by people, they believe in those values, and they promote those values in anything they're doing, not doing any special thing during their daily life, but just behaving properly and having a kind of personal awareness, and maybe sharing this awareness about what is going on and how the life could be approaching to things and to persons in a different way. So thank you very much to all of you. See you in 15 minutes for the next workshop with Turkish, our Turkish from Uşak, in the center, West Anatolia, which is an amazingly beautiful place. And we are really another place where we have a lot of friends. And every time we go there, we feel like really welcome in our house, and not as a partner and not as a foreigner, indeed. And someone has a lot of discrimination about Turkish people, but especially for Uşak and other places, we have a kind of so clear and nice connection that is a pleasure for us to host them in this network and in a new workshop. Thank you very much, Pirvu, again.
Thank you.
I hope that we will be able to meet as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And this coronavirus will let us to meet, because one of the main and the most beautiful things in projects is just to meet each other and to see, even after years, many years.
For the next meeting, we will join the other room.
Okay.
Yeah?
Another one, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Have a nice day to everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.